I'm Dr. Kimberly Manning.
And this is Dr. Ashley McMullen. And you're listening to the Human Doctor Podcast, where we explore the human side of medicine, along with teaching, living, learning, and all things in between. Using the power of storytelling, conversation, and connectedness.
Hey, we're two dope academic internal medicine doctors, but we ain't your doctors. So if you perceive anything we say here as medical advice, no, it ain't that. Also, the things we say, they only reflect our brilliant Black woman magic mind and not our employers.
You could have been anywhere, y'all, but you chose to be here with us, and we appreciate you. Let's go.
These folks are like, where have they been?
I know, right?
We're like, we're back. Oh, no, we're not.
Yes. Well, thank everybody for their patience. I will be completely honest. I had to take a mental health break, which I am extremely grateful for to have had some time off in the last 2 weeks to decompress and focus on some well-being. And I'm back in a much better headspace. I even got some sleep.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Oh, yeah, you do look kind of shiny. Not in a bad way, like in the good way.
Not greasy.
Not greasy. Not greased up.
It's amazing what can happen with a couple nights of consistent rest.
Oh my goodness. I love it. I love it. Well, I won't let you completely take all of it for us having a hiatus. It's been a really busy few weeks for me, as you know, the most important of which being that my beautiful man-child crossed the stage and received his high school diploma. That part was very exciting. Have a lot of family in town to celebrate that milestone. And I also, as you know, had the great honor of giving not one, but 2 commencement addresses at bona fide medical schools that wouldn't have even given me an interview. So this is like, like I didn't say that in my speech. I was like, look, I didn't even apply here. I think both were very uniquely special, one of which was the University of Southern California, which is in my hometown. And just imagining myself being a commencement speaker. And I grew up off of Crenshaw Boulevard. I gave a shout out to Inglewood Public Schools and to my 2 HBCUs, Tuskegee and Meharry. And I was like, the whole thing centered around rap music and the birth and rise of hip hop. So that was dope. And then the other one was at the University of Florida. And to my knowledge, and I could be wrong, I don't think they've ever had a Black woman as their commencement speaker at the College of Medicine. If I'm wrong, somebody will correct me. But either way, by then I felt emotionally strong enough to talk about my father. Mm-hmm. And that speech centered around my father and what I learned being with somebody that I love in the hospital. We've talked about this a lot on the podcast before. It was a really important moment and special moment. And I didn't even cry. And that was a part that I'm absolutely, completely stunned by, because every time I tried to practice it, I started going into the tick cry, but yeah, so shout out to the Gators. I had to tell them I come in peace from Georgia.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's SEC land. And, my Georgia Bulldog folk, they were not appreciating me taking my butt to Gainesville.
Absolutely.
So I actually also appreciate the break because it just allowed me some time to focus on these important pivotal events.
Absolutely. Actually had a chance to watch that UF commencement speech online, and I would highly encourage anybody else who's interested or is appreciative of your wisdom to check it out. It's on YouTube, right? People can publicly view it.
Mm-hmm. I actually posted it to Twitter, so if you go look under my Twitter page at Grady Doctor, most things that I post to YouTube I have unlisted, so you can't just search them. If you search it on Twitter, you'll find it.
Amazing.
Yeah. So any new things with you?
I have to re-review something that we've already talked about, which is Tabitha Brown's book, Feeding the Soul. Because when I find myself in a low place, which I did a couple weeks ago, that book really gets my soul back together. And particularly her talking through some of the stuff that she went through and just the mindset that helped her overcome some of her darkest times. It literally fed my soul. And so I can't recommend that book enough.
And I have to say that Tabitha Brown narrating her own book is chef's kiss. It is like Tabitha has such a beautiful voice. And speaking of beautiful voices, narrating their own books. Do you know where I'm about to go with this?
Is it Abraham Verghese?
O-M expletive G.
I have been waiting for this book. I'm like picking the right moment, but tell me your
Lord
review.
have mercy. Okay, y'all. Normally we try not to talk that long on this part, but I'm sorry, I have to take a little minute to put a kickstand down on this.
Hmm.
So first of all, if you see the actual book, the book is massive. It's like 700 pages. It's a big book, which means when you've got a big book like that and you try to put it onto audio, you're talking about a 30 plus hour commitment, right?
Hmm.
So when I downloaded it into my library, I looked at it and I was like, all right, girl, are you ready to do this? Are you ready? From the first three sentences of listening to Abraham Verghese narrate this book, I was drawn in. His voice is absolutely sublime. Okay, why is it sublime? Well, one, it is set in many places, but primarily in India. And for that reason, there are like, words in the Malayalam language, which I could be saying wrong, forgive me if I am, but he has all the accents correct. He just describes things in ways that make it musical. There's a character that is Scottish, and you can tell he did his homework and got that Scottish accent down. And then the other really interesting thing about the book, beyond the fact that the storytelling is awesome, it is a beautiful story that follows multiple generations. It centers on strong women being brave and doing amazing things and making hard choices. And not everything ends pretty. Like I would think about when my older son didn't enjoy the Harry Potter series because after book 2, he said he always wins. I don't want to read a book where somebody always wins.
Mm.
It's too predictable. I was like, well, but there's a journey to him winning. He was like, he's going to win.
Wow.
And in this book, everybody doesn't win, but there is so much love. It's so real because that's how life is. Like
Yes.
people don't always win, but love does win. And love can be messy and complicated and look a lot of ways.
Mm.
And he just knocks that out of the park. So y'all, as busy as I am with all that I just described that I have going on, literally every second that I was not working on something or doing something with my family, every chance I had a chore, I was listening to this book. 5 stars. Absolutely recommend.
That means everybody listening to this podcast has to listen to this book or read it. Yeah, I remember reading Cutting for Stone, which is the last fiction piece or novel that Abraham Verghese wrote. And it's like one of a handful of books that I wish I could re-experience reading for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Like the language and the imagery. I mean, it's just like, he does it with surgical precision and like brings you into a scene in a way that I could only dream of writing. Like,
I would say that as a person who probably consumes audiobooks more voraciously than the average person, because I consume a lot of audiobooks. For me to say that a narrator is extraordinary at narrating their own book, because sometimes author narrated books can be a disaster. I mean, if he doesn't want to be a doctor, he could get him a second gig as a narrator for audiobooks. It was the bomb. So yes.
Love it. All right. Shout out to Dr. Verghese.
Yeah. Shout out to Dr. Verghese for sure. Well,
the moment that we've actually been waiting for after a 2-week hiatus. I apologize, y'all. I know y'all have been thirsting for a Dr. Manning story, and here we are. And I am really excited to be able to sit back and ask you, what is the what?
All right. I was going to make you choose your own adventure, but that actually means that I would need to be a little more organized than I feel at the moment.
Fair.
So the what is loyalty.
Loyalty. Okay.
The what is loyalty. And so this is kind of layered because, full disclosure, y'all, it's just been a lot going on. And I don't know that I have just a linear story. But these things will fit together. And I will start by mentioning one of my favorite people in the whole world, which is my late sister, Deanna. One thing about Deanna that everybody who knows her or who knew her say is, if you have a problem with somebody Deanna loves, you have a problem with Deanna. Yeah, this was not, it was never gray. It was never like, well, you didn't do anything to me. It was very, very clear cut. Like you do something to my sister, to my friend, to whomever, then that's it. And so over the years, I came to really look to her as a form of protection. And when she passed away in 2012, I firmly feel like some of her like extreme loyalty just inhabited my body as her as her spirit left her body. I was like, oh, this little part we're gonna just stick into Kimberly. The rest, we will see you later. But that piece has always been with me. And so I think of loyalty, her loyalty and just loyalty in general in two ways. One, being on your team, being on your side, but also showing up in times when it may not always be super convenient to show up, when you don't know what to expect when you show up, but loyalty makes you do just that. Mm. The first piece to this meandering story begins, again, after my sister had already passed away. This has nothing to do with medicine, but it was a purely Deanna moment. We were in the throes of youth football season. And look, for those who are gonna judge me about my child playing youth football, look, don't, please, just do what you do with your kids. I mean, it's, yes.
We'll spare you this time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So we were in the throes of youth football season. My husband is a coach. My younger son, Zachary, if he could have been born with a football in his hand when he came out of the womb, he would have had it in his hand. Loves football. And we had really, like, football season for us, especially in the youth years, like it consumed our household, especially living with a coach.
And I just want to quickly pause and just reference for those of our listeners who maybe live outside of the United States. This is American football, not
not
what we refer to as soccer.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, not football is life, like like my boy Danny Rojas says on Ted Lasso. No, this is not. This is American football, the one with the pigskin. And youth football in the United States, particularly in the southern United States, is a very big thing and very robust and big programs and leagues and everything. And we were playing in a really big league where my husband was coaching, and we were at a tournament one weekend, and there was a coach that had kind of decided to antagonize our child while he was on the field. He had been a former coach of Zach's, and he was like saying some things that were like not cool. And my kid was like 8 or 9 years old. He's like, wow. Man, he's like, you don't know what you're doing. That's why you need to go to that. And just yelling all these things to my son. And he had been a former coach of my son's, which I guess made him feel like he had license to do that. And he was like, they need to pull you out, and yelling all these things to our son. I will say that I actually physically wasn't there when all of this was happening. It was just a thing that happened that was so dramatic that other people saw it. And my husband, again, who was out there as a coach, not my son's coach, saw it too. And so team went to halftime and everything. My husband, who, y'all, is from the east side of Cleveland and an Army Ranger and is afraid of no one, walks up to this guy and it's like, yo, I need you to stop talking to my son. And he was like, look, man, don't be mad at me because your son is, he started calling him sorry and started saying all these, like, it was really, really super rude. And he started saying all these things and kind of going back and forth. And, again, this is youth football. This is a predominantly Black league, and it's a lot of us out there, and it's late at night, and people been out there all day, and there's barbecue, and there's other things that go along with barbecue. So, yeah. People are feeling spirited. Fortunately, not the coaches. And thank goodness my husband chose not to fully react as he wanted to react. But, he kind of raised his voice, told the dude, get away from him, and don't say anything else to his son, or else, it's not going to end well. So, of course, all the other football moms, because, we got our whole little group me's jumping and everything. They're like, girl, you ain't going to believe what that coach said to you about your son, and your husband said this, and we thought he was going to catch them hands and blah, blah, blah. Fast forward to 2 days later in that same tournament. We are all out there under our little pitched up tents in those little folding chairs with our little coolers and our little Zach's mom t-shirt, number 6 is my baby, all that, bullhorns, wow, full, because how I go, I get down as a football mom, right? So we are sitting out there, and this coach, he comes walking up, And on this particular day, my husband was on another field with another team. But he comes walking through there and he's talking to everybody and saying hi to everybody. And there's a whole line of chairs of us moms sitting there, and he's going down the line, shaking hands, whatever. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Oh, how's your boy doing? Oh, da da da. Shaking hands. And finally, he reaches me, puts his hand out to me. I was like, hey, Dr. Manning, what's up, Doc? Good to see you out here still. And it was like in that moment, I became Deanna. I looked at him. It was a lot of people there too. My hands were still on my lap. And I looked at him and I was like, why are you trying to shake my hand? And he was like, what? I said, look, bro, you got a problem with my husband. You got a problem with me. We are not cool. We are not cool. And
Wow.
all of these people are looking and they're like, oh snap, right? I was just like, yeah, bro. No, I'm not shaking your hand. You keep it moving. So that's part one. That's part one, right? So now I'm gonna bring you into the hospital. Okay. So we're in the hospital one day and we're rounding, and this patient that was in the room, we were coming in there to see her, and there was a consultant there with us. And the consultant that was there with us, we all kind of needed to talk to the patient at the same time. But the patient says, whoa, before you say anything to me, can you please let me call my sister? She likes to know what's going on. He's like, we'll call your sister afterwards. And she was like, no, I gotta call my sister. She'll be very, very upset. Please let me just call my sister. And she's trying to call his sister. And he's like, no, you've been there before, where somebody wants to call a family member or make it like it's going to add a dynamic to the conversation that people just do not have the patience for, right?
Yes.
So he shut that down enough so where he was like, no, give me her number, we'll call her. And the patient kept insisting that really was not going to be enough for her sister.
Mm-hmm.
So I stand there, say my little part as the internist, but primarily this was a surgical issue. The surgeon says all the things that he needs to say, takes the sister's phone number, and is like, yeah, all right. I'll laugh every time I think about this happening. So the next day, my intern comes up to me and was like, have you been in, I'm gonna give her a name, Miss Jones. You been in Miss Jones' room this morning? I was like, no, I haven't been in there this morning. Okay, yeah, her sister's in the room.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, okay, that's good. I want to meet her. I want to meet her sister. That's cool. And he's like, yeah. She took the day off of work, and she's going to be there all day. And I was like, okay, I've gotten on well with the sister because I had talked to her on the phone a couple of times. So I was like, yeah, sure. So I go to round on this woman, go in the room with my team. Right as we're walking in the room, I see the surgical team. Mm-hmm. And the surgeon is like, hey, Manning, comes over to me. We start chatting. I said, oh, I'm just getting ready to go in there. It's like, great, let's go in there together. Woo, girl. We go in that room, and let me tell you, this was a solo room. She didn't have a roommate in her room. It was just a one-person room. Her sister was posted up in one of the like bedside chairs. She had her feet up. She had a little blanket over her lap. You could tell she was going to be there all day. Mm-hmm. And she looks over, and I say, hey, we had talked a few times. I'm Dr. Manning. She's like, oh, hey, Dr. Manning, how you doing? Whatever. She reaches out, gives me a hug. It's good to meet you, blah, blah, blah. I talk to the patient. And then the surgeon starts to walk a little bit closer. And he's like, hey there, my name is Dr. whatever my name is. And, it's nice to meet you too. She looked at him exactly like I looked at that coach. She says, what is your name? And then he says his name. She pulls out a little Steno pad, looks at the Steno pad, and it has that name that he just said. She said, oh, you the person that wouldn't let my sister call me. And he was like, well, she said, then you told her you would call me and you didn't call me. And then she was trying to explain to me what you said, and she ain't understand what you said, which is why I said to let me be on the phone. All the interns are there. The whole team is there. The whole surgical team is there. He's like, oh yeah, you're a tough cookie. She said, no, I ain't no damn tough cookie.
Wow.
She said, I'm somebody that when it comes to me and mine, This is what I mostly remember more than anything else, the way she kept saying, me and mine. When it comes to me and mine, I want to hear for myself. I don't want nobody to tell me. I don't want to hear a second, third hand. I want to hear what you saying to my loved one. So when it comes to me and mine, if she wants you to call me up, you need to let me call you. So he's like, yeah, well, sometimes, the hospital gets really busy. She said, I don't give a damn. She said, is your mother living? And he, like, his eyes widened. And she said, is your mother living? And he said, yes, ma'am. She said, you got any brothers and sisters? He said, yes, ma'am. She said, how many? He said, two. She said, are they living? And he was like, yes, ma'am. What if they was in the hospital sick and they didn't understand all the stuff people were saying to them in the hospital? Or if they had the kind of personality where they don't want to ask no questions because they don't feel like they want to bother you? Then you would step in, wouldn't you? She said, look, I don't know what you do with yours, but when it comes to me and mine, what you doing, what you telling me what you're not going to do, that ain't going to work for me. She never shook his hand. She asked no less than 750 questions. She held his feet all the way to the fire, blazed them up. So finally, I was kind of sitting there waiting to see if he would apologize.
Mm-hmm.
And he never apologized. He mostly just looked super embarrassed. And you could tell that it was probably one of these things where when he got outside of the room, he was going to say that the family member was crazy or inappropriate or anything. But what I saw was somebody who was radically loyal. It was like she was so loyal to her sister that she was going to stand up for her sister and be her advocate and have her back. And at times when her sister was in the hospital, those times when her sister was altered or when she couldn't really talk that well or anything like that, that lady made sure that every single thing said in the presence of her sister, that she was on that speakerphone to hear it too. And I always remembered that. So, I'm sure that there's some people who do not like confrontation and who probably think, oh, Dr. Manning, why didn't you just shake the coach's hand? But sometimes there is a lesson in that. And also sometimes I think to myself, I want the person who stands up for me, to stand up for me even when I'm not there. I want you to stand up for me whether I'm there or whether I'm not there. And for us as Black women, there's so many times when people like step to our side as allies and stuff like that. Yeah. And they'll stand up for you like when it's convenient, but when you're not there, they might shake the metaphorical hand. Mm-hmm. But that lady taught me something, and that happened before my father was sick in the hospital. Mm-hmm. And I would say a lot of her spirit I brought with me into the hospital when I was standing up for my father. Like, no, me and mine, baby. You do what you want to do with yours, but when it comes to me and mine, that dog don't hunt. So, you could take the girl out of Inglewood, but you can't take the Inglewood out of the girl.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Woo, girl.
Wow. Yeah. I'm just picturing you just like standing to the side, taking that all in after y'all had that beautiful interaction. And then she just lit him up.
No, and she was so like, 'cause she had that little Steno pad and I was like, hi, I'm Dr. Manning. She looked at the little pad. Oh, Dr. Manning. Yeah. Oh yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Nice to hug me. She was like, oh, you the one.
May we all aspire to be on the right side of the Steno pad whenever that happens.
May we all aspire to be on the right side of the Steno pad.
Wow. But real talk for a minute though, as someone who is passive and is actively working on my perpetual fear of how I'm making other people feel. Now having had someone in the hospital as well, a loved one, and recognizing like how your advocacy can literally mean the difference between a good outcome and a very, very bad outcome. I used to also, I will admit, be that person who is really trying to focus on efficiency, wanting to get like what I had to say in, and whether or not the patient understood was something to be dealt with after rounds. But it's so amazing how quickly we forget as human beings, your job is not only to get your tasks done. The patient has to feel heard. They have to understand what you're doing. You have to allow them autonomy over what's happening to them. And it's incredible how our system and the way that we, run our educational rounds and all that, just that point gets so decentralized.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, the other thing that was interesting about her sister is that she had on a work uniform, so you could tell that she was working poor. This was probably not somebody with a terminal degree of any sort. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. But what she had was a lot of love and a lot of loyalty in her, and a lot of belief that her voice deserved to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what I've learned from moments like that is the reason why that interaction took so long and was so uncomfortable was because we didn't pay it up front. Because the first time I went in there and the sister said, I need to call my sister. The patient said that, rather, I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you clearly are making this very clear that that's something you need to do. I think that we end up wasting more time trying to save time.
Yeah.
Right? Because those same people that you're talking to on speakerphone are the same people that help you coordinate a safe discharge, right?
Yep.
When you realize, oh, it's not really safe for this patient to go back home to their house yet. Oh, that same sister is the one that's going to take, her sister in for a few weeks, or coordinate family to be there, or get her to the next appointment. And you won't even know that if you had not built that relationship up front.
Mm-hmm.
So
the other thing I love about what she did was just, really disrupting the power dynamics. And I wonder if that was also what was so an affront to that surgeon's sensibilities in some ways, in which you're not really able to process what's happening because you're suddenly put in the position of having your power taken away. And I can't speak for that person, but
I mean, and the surgeon did not have racial concordance with this family. Mm-hmm. This was a Black patient, a Black female patient, and her sister. And this physician was a white man, and someone that is held in high regard. But I think that sometimes people feel untouchable, and that lady didn't care who he was. Yeah. All she knew is that on her Steno pad, the person who did not call, because of course she called her sister and was like, hey, did the surgery doctor come by? Her sister said yes. What they say, why you ain't call me? She said they wouldn't let me. And she said, what is that doctor's name?
God. And the other thing I can't help but point out, since you did happen to mention, the race of these individuals, it was also like, when Black women like stand up and advocate, it looks a lot different than when white women do the exact same thing. Yeah. And so that also like has me thinking about, the ways in which that is received, which is unfortunate, particularly in a healthcare setting.
Mm-hmm. And I will tell you, it did not look at all like something where someone was going to fight. There was no profanity used or anything. But the thing about it is that it was just a firm confrontation. It was not, and while it may seem like a little bit of a kind of a tangent for me to have told you about that experience at that football game, it was the same kind of jarring that was, because I pride myself in being amicable, in a lot of settings, whether, I'm in settings at work, whether I'm, at a game with my kids at school or whatever. I try to be, pretty easygoing and fun loving. And this was something that like slammed the brakes on all of that. So for people to see me refuse to shake this guy's hand, but I was like, bro, the person that I love the most disrespected him, and you about to try to shake my hand? Oh, no. Oh, no. There's a song that says, this ain't what you want. And I would have to say, if that song had been out then, I would have been like, bro, this ain't what you want. And that coach, and that surgeon, I should have tapped him on the shoulder and said, hey, this ain't what you want. You need to go on and let her make that phone call. But yeah, I learned a lot from watching that. And again, we have to do what's within the realm of our own sort of comfort level and personality, but it is okay to be a firm advocate. And it is okay to be loyal. And the best kind of loyalty happens in front of the person, but also when they're not there. And may we all aspire to be on the right side of the Steno pad. And if we're lucky, may we have somebody who loves us so much that they have a steno pad
Yes. Yes.
with
Yes.
the name with the names of the people who about to catch this heat. Oh, honey.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Well, I am incredibly grateful for the loyal friendship that we share.
Yeah.
Dr. Manning
Yeah.
has on several occasions offered to throw hands for me.
Yes. Yes.
Thankfully, it has not been necessary yet.
But I sure will. And yeah, I mean, and we know that we have had our own experiences knowing what that loyalty looks like. And it's
Mm.
not always comfortable, but it's a very empowering feeling to have somebody ride for you.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know?
And so for those
Yeah.
of us who wear the white coats, make sure that we honor that for each of our patients.
Yeah. It's real talk. Well, my friend, this recording is taking place in the space where my son plays his video games. And he has so graciously allowed me to sit in his space, but he has now crept back in here, as you saw.
Yeah. Said your time is up, ma'am.
So the buzzer just went off for me, but sis, I love you. And listen, if you need somebody to have the steno pad, I could be that person for you. You know that.
Yes, I do.
I mean, I really do have a metaphorical steno pad already. Right?
Yes.
You already know.
I know.
All right, sis.
All right.
All right, love you.
I love you too. That wraps up this week's episode of the Human Doctor Podcast.
Special thanks to our favorite brother gastroenterologist, Dr. Chuma Obiname, for the beats. Shout out to the Dr. Ashley McMullen for editing and production.
Mad love to our podcast family at The Nocturnist and the Clinical Problem Solvers, our Med Twitter fam.
And especially shout out to all of you, our listeners.
Until next week, remember,
we see you and you are enough. Holla!